Alright guys, so we're going to work on zone 2. You already saw that I'm working on descaling coffee makers. Just know that you may hear like washing machine and coffee maker and all that stuff going on in the background. Alright, so we're working on coffee makers. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. I'm going to dust the top of the fridge, wipe items on the counter, wipe backsplash, switches, plates, doors, and then wipe cabinet doors. So hopefully I can get those things done in 15 minutes. If not, we'll just pick it back up tomorrow. I'm not going to include this because this takes like a 75-minute process just for the first part, and then you kind of do it over again. You have to run like the clear cycle through it after that. And so what I've learned to do is I just kind of do that as I'm going through the kitchen throughout the day. So you know, when I come in here and just work on stuff, I just check on it and then run the next thing. And it's not a big deal. It's not like an active thing that I'm really having to do. So it's not a big deal, but it's something that you need to do. All right, so I'm gonna flip the camera around, set my timer, and we're gonna get busy. Alright guys, so as you can see, I am going to make my life easy and I am going to use a Swiffer. I noticed a spider web up there, so I kind of got that down. This particular Swiffer is one that is made for ceiling fans. I don't even have the right kind of attachment on the end of it, the little duster thing, but it works good enough. I'm just putting it in there so that I can get all of the dust between the cabinet and the refrigerator. This refrigerator is a beast and I'm scared to move it by myself, so I just decided that this was the next best thing. So I got all the dust out, and then I went ahead and did on the sides of the refrigerator, and here in just a minute you are going to see just how nasty this was. So make sure that you are doing this in your house.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes.
Now we're going to move on to this stuff on the countertops. I'm going to be doing the backsplash, wiping all of the things that are on my countertop. Now I don't always do this when I do my zone cleaning. A lot of weeks I actually do the backsplash during my kitchen day. Now kitchen day is just something that I do. It's one of my daily focuses. It's like a personal one that I like to do. I've talked about it in other videos. It's not necessarily Flylady, but I have a lot of kitchen things that I typically do on Monday, and I just know that I haven't done it the last couple of weeks, and so I knew that I was going to be wiping down like all of the things on the counter, like the coffee makers and all the trays and all of that, so I just felt like it would be a good time to go ahead and do this. I want to encourage you to go through your kitchen and figure out what needs to be done in your kitchen. Don't necessarily look at somebody else's kitchen zone cleaning list and feel like you have to copy it exactly. Figure out the areas in your kitchen that need to be cleaned, and then do those things. You may find a list that has things on it that's just not necessary for your kitchen. That's okay. That is what I like about the Flylady system, is you can totally customize it and make it work for you. Now all of the things on this tray, I pretty much do this once a month. I don't usually do this on my kitchen day during the week, not unless I know of something that actually spilled or something that happened specifically. Then I will obviously handle it at the time, but other than that, I do save this for my zone cleaning. And what I am just using a damp e-cloth microfiber rag. You can use any kind of microfiber, and then I'm also using a dry one to polish the tile because mine are glossy, and if I don't polish them with something like dry them off, they will have streaks. So the only reason you're going to have to do that is, depending on what kind of finish you have on your backsplash. You may have something that doesn't require 2 different wipes, and that is great. But again, I'm just doing it because I need to dry it so that I don't have streaks.
Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down.
You'll see right here, I went ahead and set my crock off to the side. I'm going to take all of the utensils out of it and give it a good wash. I noticed that it has some kind of like sauce or something on the outside. So instead of just wiping it down, I'm going to go ahead and take everything out, wash it with some warm soapy water, and just make sure there's not any dust on the inside and things like that. So again, these are things that you're not having to do all the time, but you do want to hit them occasionally. And I know I talk about this all the time, but that is why I like zone cleaning. I can work on things for just a little bit here and there throughout the week as I have the time. And then all of these big tasks are getting done. I'm just doing them in little tiny manageable chunks. Also, if you have never zone cleaned before, I do want to encourage you to just start with 15 minutes. And I say that because it can be overwhelming. So if you're a person that is having a hard time getting started, maybe you don't like to clean and you just have to start somewhere, start with 15 minutes. Now, if you are somebody that enjoys cleaning and you do a good job of keeping your home up and you're just looking to switch things up, for you, take 30 minutes a couple days a week, or take an hour and lump all of your zone cleaning together. Make it work for you. But if you're just starting and you're having trouble getting started, definitely start with just 15 minutes. Having that really small, manageable amount of time will make it easier to do day after day.
The sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, the sky is falling.
Alright guys, so in 16 minutes and 6 seconds we got several things done. Let's see, what did we do? I'm trying to take the top off my pen. Alright, so we dusted the top of the fridge, wiped items on counter, backsplash. Now I need to finish. I did most of this plates that were on the counter, but there's a few more. So let's go ahead and just check these things off. So I'm going to check that one off. All right, so we're going to go ahead and set our timer again, and we're going to finish the switches, plates, and doors, because that's going to be like the pantry door, and then the plates and things that are on my island, just on the sides. And then we're going to go ahead and do the cabinet doors. Now, typically I just do 15 minutes a day, but today I've got a little extra time and I'm kind of already in the groove. So we're going to set our timer for another 15 minutes. It's okay to do it this way. Do whatever works for you. You can do 15 minutes 4 days a week. You can do 2 days of 30 minutes. You can do it all in an hour. It doesn't really matter. Do it however works for you. All right, so something else I want to touch on since you just saw my list is I want you to see that I am not going to get to every single thing on my list here in the kitchen. And that is one of those things that used to bug me so bad. It used to irritate me so much, knowing that I wasn't going to complete every single thing on my task list every single month. And that just stems from perfectionism. It's not a good thing. I finally learned to be okay to just be able to do what I could do. And I have learned the longer I have done zone cleaning that you are going to come back around to these things the next month. These 5 weeks, they go by so fast, and it seems like you turn around and you're already back in the same zone again, and then you're working on the second half of the list or the second third of the list or wherever it is that you left off. So don't be discouraged if you can't finish everything on your zone cleaning list every single month. That's not the goal. The goal is to just keep chipping away at it so that you're hitting these things several times a year. Now, I will say that there are a few things that I try to make sure that I do every month. One of those things is things like baseboards, because I feel like dust can really build up pretty fast. But then there's other things like cleaning my oven and cleaning my vent filters. Those are the kind of things that they don't necessarily need to be done every single month. So I kind of try to focus on the ones that I like to get done every month. And then the others, they get hit the next month or maybe the next month. But you're going to find a groove that works for you. You just have to keep at it. So if this is your first time doing zone cleaning and you're finding it to be overwhelming, don't be ever overwhelmed. Just take it a little bit at a time. And just so you know, even though it may look to you like I'm cleaning a clean kitchen, these cabinet doors, they have like that decorative molding around the edges. Those things collect dust and, grease and things like that from the kitchen. So they definitely needed to be cleaned. There's also some places, and I didn't show any close-ups because it's kind of just hard to see them, but there were definitely splatters on some of the bottom cabinets and things like that. So make sure that you are tackling those cabinets, because the more frequently you do it, the easier it is to wipe things off because you're not having to scrub. So I just want you guys to know my house does get dirty. I am not cleaning a clean kitchen. There is definitely dirt there, and today was the day that we were handling it. One thing that I want to touch on that I haven't mentioned in this video is that while I do Flylady Zone cleaning, I do it a little bit different. The Flylady way is you have zones 1 through 5, and on the last week of the month, sometimes the first week of the month, depending on how the days land, you will only have a day or two, not a full week, to do either zone 1 or zone 5. What I have chosen to do is I give myself a full week in each zone, no matter what. It doesn't matter how the calendar lands. So some months I'm going to be starting zone, whatever zone I'm in, on a different rotation than what the Flylady is on. And that's just personal preference for me. I find it much easier to just complete a whole zone and then move on to the next zone instead of just doing little bits and pieces. However, you are free to do this however works best for you. If you prefer to do it the way this Flylady does it and has it laid out on her website, go for it. If that works for you, that is perfectly fine. I definitely think you should do whatever works best for you. I just feel like it's less confusing to do this way, so that's why I like to do it this way. All right, 11 minutes, 46 seconds. All right, so wrong side of the pen. All right, so we have finished switches, plates, doors. I also did my homeschool door, white cabinet doors, and that's going to be it for today. So that was not quite 30 minutes, not quite 2 sessions, but the rest of this can wait till another day. All right, guys, so it is a couple of days later. I did not get any zone cleaning done yesterday. So today I'm going to do another 30 minutes, probably 30 minutes-ish, and that should wrap up this month's zone cleaning, and I am excited. So right here I'm going to insert a clip I have needed to work on a couple of things here in the kitchen. I was having issues with the drawer in the kitchen that has like all of our baggies, Ziploc bags, things like that. It was getting out of hand. I use all different brands of bags, and I felt like every time I bought a box, they were always different, so it made it hard to organize. And Amazon finally had an organizer that was marked down enough that I was happy to spend that money on it. I think that they are very expensive, and I have not been willing to spend a lot of money on it. But like I said, they finally marked it way, way, way down. I will have the one that I have linked. I don't know that it's still like an awesome price, or if it's, you know, whatever. I'm not saying that it's necessary for you to spend money on these things. It was just something that I felt like my kitchen needed. So anyway, all right, so today what I need to do is work on my under the kitchen sink cabinet. It's been a few months since I've kind of taken everything out and really wiped everything down. It's feeling a little messy, a little out of control, and I was feeling like my organization that I have under there is not awesome. Again, Prime Day, they had a great deal on an organizer that I've been thinking would work really great under there, so I went ahead and picked those up. So I'm excited about it. The way our pipes are, we do not have a lot of room under there vertically. You know, I've got just a normal amount horizontally, but vertically there is not a lot of space. But there was one spot that I felt like I was pretty sure I could get some more vertical storage in, so we are going to do that today. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I will set my timer. I'm going to pull everything out. We're going to wipe everything down, put everything back. Now, am I expecting this to be like a major overhaul? No, but sometimes just little tweaks at a time make things better. So let's turn the camera around and get busy. All right, so here's what we're starting with. And as you can see, I do have a few things in place. Like I have this little turntable, which makes getting things a lot easier, because you can see that's where like the garbage disposal is. So it's kind of hard to get things right there. So having them on that Lazy Susan is very helpful. The other thing is, the other day I found another container in my laundry room that I'm not using. So I went ahead and put our dishwasher pods in there. That's not necessary, but it actually does take up less room than the other one because it's taller and not as deep. So I like that. And then over here, okay, so this is kind of a thing. Sometimes we have issues with this pipe leaking. So one thing that I have to do is make sure that I have something under it that can catch water. That way it doesn't ruin the bottom of the cabinet. So this is for sure gonna stay here, and I'm okay with that. The new organizer that I got, pretty sure is gonna fit right here really well. And you can see I just got like trash bags, and I've got like some extra, these are kind of like not my favorite dish rags, but sometimes we use them if we've got like a messier job, or if we don't have some that are clean or whatever. So anyway, we're just gonna see if we can make this a little bit better. Also, things are just kind of getting dirty. I don't know if you can tell, but that's like, looks like Barkeeper's Friend has been dumped out on that. So we're just gonna take everything out, give it a quick wipe down, and put everything back.
Talk to me, baby, I've been waiting for a lifetime. Just keep on fading in all these photos, caught in the memories and captured in the highlights. Just keep on wasting.
It's kind of hard to tell, but that definitely needs a good wipe out.
Hoping you'll come around, drowning our fights in whatever can be found. 'Cause I've given in to all my demons lately. You know, might be easier just to let it go. Cut the cable short and the problem solved. Might be easier for you. I do it all night. You're my only lifeline.
Not sure that you can see in there, but there's a bunch of Barkeeper's Friend that is splattered around this also. You can see it down in the bottom. Alright guys, so that took me 23 minutes. Now I will tell you that I ended up turning the camera off because I kind of had to just think through some things. A lot of times when you're organizing things and putting things back, it's really just a puzzle. And sometimes the camera makes me feel like I'm under pressure. So I just turned it off. But I'm going to show you what I did. And you guys, that one little thing made a huge difference. Now, if everything under my sink was already working really well for me, I would not have purchased anything. I do not think that you are always having to purchase something to make things better. I do, however, believe that if something isn't working at its best for you, that it is okay to invest in yourself and in your home if it's something that you can afford to purchase. So there's my little TED talk about that. I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to show you everything I did. I'm also going to show you what I was able to get rid of. All right, so let's start with what I'm getting rid of. I no longer need this little thing in my sink for my sponge. You will see why in a few minutes. I no longer need this. This never functioned well for me. I purchased this to put like here, but like, I don't know. It just never worked. And it's sad because it was, I feel like it was expensive, but I thought it was going to do what I needed it to do, and then it didn't. And then also I wasn't really happy with the quality of it. So there's that. And then this was just an empty bottle that I had, which I obviously do not need. And then I just had another empty container. I had 2 of these under there. So I don't need that. So that's 4 things that are going away. Well, and the box that the trash bags were in. All right, so I'm going to start on this side because it's the one that is the least dramatic. All right, so I told you that I put the dishwasher pods in this already, which is really nice. I decided to just leave the lid off. That way we can just reach our hand in there and we're not having to pull the lid off. And then back behind there, there's that little space for a couple of things that I don't use very often. I laid a paper towel underneath them because they have metal on the bottom. That way if they were to get damp and rust or something, it's not going to damage the cabinet. And then right here, this actually changed quite a bit. First I cleaned it, and then I put this little thing that we keep our little dish brush in. I just kind of have, this is like an IKEA vase. This is just a ramekin that fits in there, and it just makes it up a little bit higher. And I like that just so that that can kind of dry. And then I just made sure that everything on here spins nicely. For us, these Method bottles work really well. They're the right height. So even though this is Lysol, this is Simple Green, these are just basically recycled Method bottles. And then these are the things that we kind of use the most often. All right, so on here, this is kind of where the magic happened. Now I feel like it still kind of looks a little messy, but I was going for functional. So I told you that I needed to keep this bin down here because sometimes this thing leaks. So what I have back here is Folex, which is carpet cleaner. We use that very rarely. And then that is my Mrs. Meyer's concentrate. So I don't get to that very often. And then this is my stainless spray, and then I just have a couple of brushes that I use on occasion. So right here in the back of this, on the top shelf, I've got my Dawn, and then another one of these bottles that is filled with Lysol concentrate. Now I did have them way back in the back. They were super hard to get to, but this is a lot easier. And then this tray, this is what I'm most excited about. So this came with like hooks and little things that you could add. So I added a couple of these little things, and they do have the holes in the bottom so that your things are going to dry out. But I've got like a purple sponge that you use for your glass stovetop, and then a little straw cleaner, and then the sponge that we use, Scrub Daddy stuff, and then like my drain stoppers. So all of that is nice and easy to get to. And then down here, I just have like trash bags, and then I don't get to this very often. That's why I put it behind this, but that's just the additive that you add to the dishwasher. Behind there, I'm not going to pull everything out, but there's really just a lot of little stuff back there. So basically I had some like dish gloves, things that I don't use very often, usually just when I'm using like chemicals and stuff, and some other, like, I don't even remember, things that I use on occasion, just not very often. So they're in the back. The other thing that changed is right here in this drawer next to the sink, I have this drawer for dish towels and cloths. Back here in the back was a tray that had my sink stoppers and things like that, because I didn't have a good place to put them. Well, it occurred to me that obviously that wasn't the best solution. It was just what worked at the time. But since I had that other thing to put those things, it made more sense to put my backup dish towels in the dish towel drawer. So that was a huge win. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Just remember that zone cleaning does not have to be all or nothing. You can set your timer for 15 minutes a few days a week. You can set your timer for 30 minutes, an hour. You can make it work for you. I highly suggest just figuring out what works the best for you. Also, it can look different every week. It can look different every month. That is the beauty of zone cleaning, is you really and truly can make it work for you. It's not all or nothing. It is just a little bit of effort to keep on top of all of those things that need to get done throughout your house, that don't have to be done on a super regular basis like every week, but they still need to get done. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new to my channel and not already subscribed, please consider subscribing down below, and I will see you guys soon.
Can't bear the silence inside my own head. I keep on hoping somehow we can make this all right. Just keep on trying.